Got the Can-Am Outlander 450. I'm gonna be adding a Warrior Riser snorkel kit to it. Just do a quick walk around of it real quick before I tear it down. The first steps are gonna be remove the seat, get the cluster removed here. Might have to take off the bumper, side covers to expose everything. I have to get in there and I have to remove the fender wells, get these covers off just to make everything accessible, and then we'll go step from step. Okay gang, long story short, I went ahead and jumped ahead a few steps and went ahead and taken apart most of the stuff that I need to take off. Well, actually all of it. So on this 450, it should be about the same process as a 570, the 850 and 1000 from what I'm seeing, because the exhaust heat shroud is the same, air box is the same, the way the snorkels come up through here are the same. So what you need to do, get the cluster off. The whole front bumper has to be loosened up. You can probably take off more than this, but I'm only taking it apart this far because I need to notch it here. You'll have to push your fuse box down in there, but I'm not going to take any more apart. I'll just have to muscle it to get the stuff pushed in there. But per instructions, you'll cut this, you'll notch it out right here, and then your fuse box will be relocated basically down to where those two holes are at. You have to find a way to get it stationary, but you'll pop that loose, cut your section in here like so, push your fuse box down. That's your intake exhaust for your belt box. Here's your carburetor intake. Once I get a few more steps ahead, I'll end up notching it right here. That's as much as we'll cut off, and then the snorkel will tie in. These are all your factory vent lines. There may be one more we have to run, but I believe that's it for all the vents. We'll just tie into those with the ones that were provided with the kit. Then coming around here, your exhaust vent line for your belt is here. It comes out the back of the belt box here, loops around, comes out into here and just dumps out. So that's the highest point of your exhaust snorkel. So what I'll be doing is I have to pull that out and just take off this boot right here. And we got a boot that comes with the kit. We'll have to boil it, get it warm to make it fit that oval shape, because as of right now it's like a 2-inch. So we'll have to basically shape it. I don't know why it didn't come into shape. Got this computer here loosened up. I'm not really sure why it called to loosen it up. I know it does. I know this route's through here somewhere, but we'll go over that a little later on. And coming under here, that's the front of your belt box coming up here. Per instructions, we'll end up cutting this off. We're gonna cut this off above the mounting bracket. It'll be cut here somewhere, maybe a little inch above that, but I'll go over that in a little while. We'll cut that, and then that's where our Warrior will tie into, and it'll come out here and run out. So for the most part, I don't think this will be a bad job. The only thing people frown on is when they have to cut into their factory stuff. So on this one, we'll cut a 2-inch hole here. Then you have to come downwards and cut another 2-inch hole going that way. And then coming out of these little eye sockets, you cut a 2-inch hole here. One of the tubes will come out. Same for this side. So once we get to that, you know, I'll touch base with you. Okay, moving forward. So you gotta take those bolts out of that computer. These two can stay. You're taking this off just to remove this little black cover here. Our hose is gonna come out of here. Our 2-inch hose is gonna come out and run up under that. But per instruction, they say to remove that. So our 2-inch hose will run here, come out and go up. I've already loosened up the intake for your belt box. There's two 10mm that'll go here. There's also going to be a zip tie around it. Once you get that loose, You just wiggle it a little bit. We're gonna push it down from the bottom. Get it out. So with this removed, I'll go ahead and make a mark for y'all, but we're gonna cut this pipe right here up under this top bracket. I'll make a mark somewhere for you, but I'll cut it right up under here somewhere and smooth it out so we can get the pipe to go over it. So for now, this is where I'll cut the intake for the belt box. I'll have to cut that. Have to cut this spot out there. Smooth it out for the pipe to go over. I might have to cut it a little more, but we'll see. On this air box intake, right here in the, right there in the curve, that's where I'll be putting my cut at for the snorkel to run into from the factory. So to show y'all, that's where I'm cutting it at. I'll finish cutting it off camera. All right, so we're making a little progress. So the rubber boot that comes in the kit that goes here, the best way to get that thing back on, considering it's gonna be shaped like that, they recommend boiling it in the paper and the instructions, and I recommend that too. So I've already run the heat shield, the heat tape on there. I got my 90 on that comes in the kit. It comes with two, it comes with two 2-inch 90s, I'm guessing these are. And it also came with an extra one, which threw me off, but I'm guessing it may be for a different model or something, so it came with an extra 90, so I got these two. One for here, one for that, and it's gonna come out the top of this way, so. Yeah, let me see what else I've got done. I went ahead and cut my part out here. It's ugly, but I did it. Got that cut out. The reason being, you cut that out and relocate your fuse boxes when you run your tube through here, it's gonna come through this way. I'm not sure if I had to cut that, but I hadn't seen anything about cutting it, so. My tube's gonna come through here. I've cut that out. I don't have a 2-inch hole saw, so I just went through with my butter knife. Okay. Got the air intake tube removed. I just took a knife and cut out that rubber splash guard that was there, instead of removing the whole thing. So, and that's about where we're at for now. So I'll get this glued in. Well, I'm not gonna glue it. I'm just gonna get it fitted up, run it that way. I did cut that tube. I need to clean that up a little bit, and I'll clean it off so my glue will stick. But that's the finished part of that. It's gonna go out of the top of here. So that's where you need to cut that part out. All right, y'all. My apologies. I jumped a bunch of steps ahead. I went ahead and put my wrap around that pipe. Got my 90 on there. And my little coupler there. Got it running around just to here for right now. Letting it glue up, but got this piece made. I'm going with some different silicone. I don't know why I choose to use that orange mess, but went ahead and got those holes cut out. And then in the instructions it tell you to come up a 1/4 inch below that little seam right there, drill in straight, then you got to come in from the top. And the reason being, when you come in from the top, it basically opens that hole all the way up straight down to where your pipe goes in there. And then on these side holes, man, I just kind of eyeballed it. It didn't really give you no detailed way to do it, but I just kind of eyeballed that. And the biggest headache I'm having with this thing is just getting everything routed through here. Like, I've had to do a bunch of cutting on this part. It don't tell you to do all that cutting. I cut me a pretty good size hole here. It don't tell you to. And then in the instructions, it says just to trim something here. It's not very detailed on how much you have to trim, but I basically cut from here all the way here. You can see the seam of the tank. There was a nice little elbow right here, but I cut all of that off. Got it as close as I can, and then that one of the tubes come here, the exhaust Here, the exhaust belt tube comes out here, and your second one will be here, coming up. So, and then on that electrical tab, it's gonna tell you to unplug these. It sits here. Let's see if I can't come around that side and see. That tab here, it sat up probably 3 inches. I cut it all the way down so my tube can come through here, and I'll push these wires down. And it's not very detailed on how much it's telling you to cut off of that, so it takes a lot to get it to clear. So I've come in with my exhaust line, got it in there, glued it up, got my bolt in there. I'm gonna leave it unglued for now down here, and I'll start running up my exhaust line for the exhaust on the belt. Get that ran up now that I got some space to come in and get everything connected to that. I'm also about to come in and connect the front one. I call it like a horn or something. Looks like a little rhino horn, but we'll get that one slapped up in there. Got the center one on. Went ahead and glued it. I don't know if it'll happen for you, but it tries to push out, so you have to watch that until it hardens up a little bit. It's already coming out about 1/8 of an inch, so come around to the front, you'll notice it's not straight, but I already kind of did a dry fitting with the cover. So once you get that on, it'll press down. You better line everything up. So I'll put my connector here, or coupler, whatever. It's probably a connector, but I'll put my connector here and my connector there. That's the only thing left on these two. All right, so we got the nose done. Got my 2 couplers on. Next step will be to add these 2. I believe they come out something like that, something like so. Can it come out like that? I don't know. We're about to find out. All right, I've jumped ahead a little bit. I went ahead and got it mocked up a little bit just to see how things look. Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, I like that. But from what I'm seeing, I think these are supposed to be lower than the middle, but you know, that's why it's just dry fitted up right now. You can adjust it. I think I'll knock those down some. Once I get it glued on and stuff, we'll play with it and see. I need to get these vent lines extended. I wasn't gonna worry about them because they run up pretty high. They're right there up under the dash, but I'll go ahead and throw the extensions on there and run it up. All right, so I went from getting it mocked up to I've got it in there permanent. Before was this thing a headache. I mean, the snorkel kit itself really just ain't bad, but in my honest opinion, I don't think there's enough room in here for such a big flex tube. Considering most bikes don't use such big flex hoses, you know, so I think there's a little overkill for the space that you got, but it ain't too bad, man. You know, there's really nothing you can do about making this look good. I don't like the way the hoses look coming out of there. But, you know, that's what you got. And then on the final deal, you know, most people may not know, but you have to glue this on. You have to glue these screens on when you get to that point. I used to think they locked in. I guess some kits may become lock in, but on these Warrior risers, you have to glue them in place. So that kind of sucks, but that's the next step.